The weekend in the AFC West felt like the shifting of tectonic plates, the kind of Sunday that turns a season on its head before the calendar has even reached October. The Raiders didn't even step onto the field, and yet by the time the late games wrapped, it felt like Las Vegas had already won. The Chiefs fell. The Broncos collapsed, and just like that, the table was set. Tomorrow night, under the lights of Monday Night Football, the Raiders don't just play a game, they play for control of the division, something they haven't had since 2002. More than 20 years of waiting, of heartbreak, of watching Kansas City stack banners and Denver relive its glory days. Now at last, the door is cracked open, and all that stands in the way is a showdown with the Chargers. The Chiefs' loss alone was enough to send ripples through Raider Nation. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, the unbeatable duo, looked mortal. Against the Eagles, Kansas City wasn't just outscored. They were outplayed, pushed into mistakes, and left scrambling in the fourth quarter. For the first time in his career, Mahomes has dropped 3 straight games if you count last February's Super Bowl. That statistic alone is stunning. Since taking over as starter, Mahomes has felt inevitable, almost untouchable. But now the aura is cracking. The Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time in a decade, and their upcoming schedule offers no mercy. A likely win over the Giants looms, but then comes Baltimore, a game that could easily leave them sitting at 1-3. For the Raiders, that's not just good news, it's an invitation. The empire is wobbling, and for the first time in years, someone else can seize control of the AFC West. If the Chiefs' collapse was the appetizer, the Broncos provided the full-course feast of schadenfreude. Denver had their game against Indianapolis sealed, won, ready to be celebrated in Mile High, and then in one of the most brutal finishes imaginable, they imploded. A 60-yard field goal attempt that had no business being attempted was lined up. It fell short and wide, and the game should have ended there. But a personal foul on Denver, an unthinkable mistake jumping on the long snapper's back, gave the Colts new life. 15 yards closer, the kick was good. Game over. Indianapolis shocked everyone, moving to 2-0, and Denver walked off stunned, 1-1, and suddenly staring into a mirror that reflected back nothing but wasted chances. Raider Nation couldn't have scripted it better. And now, here we are. The standings tell the story. Chiefs 0-2, Broncos 1-1, Chargers 1-0, and the Raiders sitting on the cusp of 2-0 if they can pull off the win on Monday night, ready to take sole possession of first place in the division. For a franchise that has lived in shadows for decades, this is a chance to step into the light. But let's not pretend it will be easy. The Chargers are no joke. They marched into Kansas City last week and walked out with a victory that had analysts crowning them as one of the top 3 teams in the NFL. Justin Herbert looked poised, commanding, and dangerous. The offense clicked. The defense hunted. For a brief moment, Los Angeles looked like the real juggernaut of the West. And now, the Raiders must go through them to claim their destiny. Injuries, as always, loom over everything. The good news for the Raiders is that Brock Bowers is back. Just days ago, whispers of an ACL or MCL tear swirled through social media, sparking panic. But by the weekend, the diagnosis was confirmed. A PCL sprain, far less catastrophic. Bowers practiced, moved well, and by all accounts is ready to go. His presence is a game changer. In an offense built on balance and timing, Bowers provides Geno Smith with a safety valve, a mismatch nightmare who can stretch defenses and punish linebackers. His return is a boost not just for the passing game, but for the entire team's confidence. The bad news is Jackson Powers-Johnson. Another concussion. His third, dating back to college. This isn't just about missing one Monday night game. This is about his career, his long-term health. Last time he suffered a concussion, he missed 5 weeks, and the signs against the Colts were troubling. Sluggish footwork, missed assignments, a dazed look after one particularly nasty hit. Without him, the line reshuffles. Alex Kappa steps in, and while he's steady, the downgrade is real. Against a Chargers front led by Khalil Mack, that could be the crack in the armor Los Angeles is desperate to exploit. That's where the battle will be won or lost, in the trenches. Protecting Geno Smith is priority number 1. The Chargers' defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, is notorious for scheming pressure, disguising blitzes, and exploiting weak spots. Expect him to target Kappa, DJ Glaze, and Jordan Meredith relentlessly. If Smith is harassed, if turnovers creep in, the Raiders' dream of seizing first place could vanish before it begins. So how do they win? First, unleash Ashton Ginty. Last week he ran for 38 yards but somehow recorded 45 after contact. That's not just tough running, that's running through chaos. It means the line failed him, but he still made something out of nothing. The Raiders can't afford to slam him into brick walls again. Instead, they need to get creative. Motion him into the slot, throw screens, design plays that get him in space where he can punish tacklers. Pairing him with Bowers and Michael Mayer and 12 personnel could create nightmares for the Chargers, forcing them into mismatches they can't cover. On defense, the mission is simple: rattle Justin Herbert. Confident Herbert is one of the best in the league. Shaken Herbert? He makes mistakes, forces throws, hesitates in the pocket. The Raiders' defensive line must dominate, and Max Crosby has to lead the way. All week, the chatter has been about rookie tackle Joe Alt, the golden boy drafted to protect Herbert's blind side. Crosby has heard it. He knows the spotlight is on this matchup. Tomorrow night is his chance to silence the noise and remind the league who the real disruptor in the AFC West is, and discipline, above all, will decide the night. Last week, 6 of Keenan Allen's 7 catches went for either a touchdown or a first down. That cannot happen again. The Raiders must tighten coverage, force 3rd and longs, and get off the field. Stack the box, take away the run game, and make the Chargers one-dimensional. Force Herbert into uncomfortable throws under pressure, and the Raiders will control the tempo. This game is about more than just X's and O's. It's about sending a message. The Raiders have been overlooked, dismissed, and written off for years. The Chargers were hyped, the Chiefs crowned before the season even began. But football isn't played on paper, and the AFC West is no longer Kansas City's playground. If the Raiders win, they don't just move to 2-0, they claim the narrative. They put the league on notice,